Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Here at Fields & Brown Barbershop, legacy means a lot. We're trying to fill big shoes left by my two uncles and my grandfather, where every haircut came with conversation and every customer left a little taller than when they walked in. The barbershop is about pride. It's about knowing your barber knows your name and your story. Come see us at Fields & Brown Barbershop, where tradition never goes out of style. 3 generations, 1 legacy, your barbershop.
Arctic Air keeps your home or business comfortable. For more than 20 years, we provided outstanding residential and commercial services through southern Middle Tennessee. Whether you need assistance with your heat, air conditioning, preventive maintenance, or anything in between, trust our reliable team to get the job done. We'll take the time to figure out your specific needs and recommend what we believe is right and best for your situation.
We've been using Arctic Air for over 15 years now. Their service is great, they're here when we need them, and their prices are competitive. They take the worry out of the heat and air so I don't have to.
Arctic Air. When you need us, we'll be there.
Financial advisor Scott Beasley knows time spent with family is everything. As a founder of Beasley Wealth Management, his mission is to give clients the freedom to enjoy time with family without the burden of financial concerns. A local of Lawrenceburg, Scott deeply values building relationships with clients, ensuring they make informed decisions concerning asset management, tax planning, and retirement planning. Offering a free initial consultation, Beasley Wealth Management helps clients pursue their aspirations with confidence. A local law firm respected throughout the state. Generations of clients have turned to Boston, Holt, and Durham since 1948. We assist individuals and businesses with their legal needs, including real estate, property closings, personal injury, employment discrimination, and family law. Our clients get the personal attention and convenience of a hometown law firm with the resources and ability to handle any case. Come see us at Boston, Holt, and Durham.
Since opening our doors in 1904, Builtwell Bank has existed to be the local economic engine for the communities we serve. No matter if you're buying a car, saving for retirement, or finally buying that forever home, Builtwell Bank is here to help. From personal checking and savings accounts to a full suite of business and commercial banking with treasury management services, we'll make sure you'll have a dedicated Builtwell banker that understands your unique needs and stands by you every step of the way. No matter where you are in Tennessee or Northwest Georgia, there's likely a Builtwell Bank location nearby. Come see us and let our dedicated financial team help you with all of your banking needs. Member FDIC.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Yeah, and welcome everybody back here to X Sports today. The band is back together. Taylor Plott back from whatever nerd fest he went to last week. We're just kidding.
So it is a bunch of nerds.
He's back. Our TV, our logo thing isn't working, but hey, we're still here. We're back going. I had to miss yesterday. I was doing some UT Southern soccer yesterday afternoon. The Firehawk women getting a good win against Bob Jones University. And guys, we got a lot to recap this week here. We got some college football, and what a wild week we had in week number 3. A lot of games to talk about.
Yeah, it was a loaded week, and it's funny because as a Tennessee fan, I've done this probably since high school. Is the week after, and it was a lot when I was in high school. The week after a Tennessee loss, I wouldn't watch sports that week because I knew it would just find a way to pop up, and now here I am doing it myself.
Yeah. I'll be first and foremost to say I was unable to watch any football over the weekend, so I was able to at least see some of the highlights going through social media and everything like that. I wish I had watched that Tennessee-Georgia game because the group chat that I was in was just going off on it because I hear it was an amazing game. Obviously, unfortunately for y'all, Georgia ended up pulling out that victory. But I would even look at this and be like, look at what y'all did against Georgia. I mean, we had a conversation yesterday where talking about what's going to happen with Nico now that the coach at UCLA is fired. And I'll go ahead and say, the quarterback that y'all have is a huge upgrade from Nico.
Big time.
Big time upgrade. And that's really good. I think Tennessee's going to be absolutely fine. It's Georgia, big rivalry game. I get it. But that's a game that you can live off of and be like, you know what, we gave them everything and we're a really good team. And Tennessee's going to be a team that's going to have, I mean, who knows? They could end up running the table for the SEC and find a way to maybe get into a championship game.
Yeah, I mean, I was incredibly pleased. Obviously, the first quarter came out firing on all cylinders. Your quarterback goes 14 of 14 for over 200 yards against Georgia in the first quarter, and you're content. And then the Georgia settles in the second and third quarters. But what I was really impressed with that I haven't seen a Tennessee team do yet, and really in my lifetime, was, it happened at Alabama 2 years ago. It happened at Georgia last year. You came out of halftime, whether you were leading or trailing. I think they were actually leading both of those games. And they kind of laid down and died on that first drive of the second half defensively. Georgia or Alabama both went down and scored on their first drives of the second half. Tennessee went 3 and out. Oh. Well, the same thing happened Saturday. And they kept fighting. They got stops when they needed to get stops. They had big plays in the second half when they needed big plays. And listen, that team took a jump. That team was without their two best cornerbacks. And obviously that's kind of where Georgia had the advantage. And they held their own. I mean, they were a missed field goal away.
That's the thing, is missed field goal away.
And we're saying everything we're saying about Georgia right now about Tennessee.
About Tennessee, yeah. And you're exactly right about the second half tendencies that Tennessee has had. 2 years ago, it was at Alabama, and I want to say that Tennessee had like a 24 to 10,
I think
27
20 to 7 or something like that.
It was at least a 2-score advantage going into the second half. And then next thing you know, you're right, that for some reason Tennessee, the switch flipped back, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, Alabama's tied the game and they're taking the lead. So that is one thing that, looking at the highlights and seeing how the score progression went, that did kind of stand out to me as like Tennessee's still fighting. Georgia came back and made this a game, and now it's back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, I was there. You couldn't what you guys are saying, encouragement about Tennessee, that was not the feeling leaving the stadium.
No.
I was the only one in somewhat a celebration because my boys took out Pitt in the backyard brawl in overtime, coming from behind without our best receiver, with our best player starting running back in Jaheim White. But I thought, Tennessee's start was incredible. Who would have thought scoring 3 touchdowns on your first 3 drives and doing it the way that they did, the way they mixed up a lot of over-the-middle throws, really took advantage of how Georgia was blitzing. Like, it's almost like they knew what was coming. And then I didn't realize that ever since Heupel has been in Tennessee, they've scored on the first drive against Georgia in
all 3
every
times.
single game. So there's that to pop into your head there. But Georgia really got their offense going in the second half, just running it down Tennessee's throat. I thought that Tennessee made some really good adjustments once their offense got going. Like that wheel route for the touchdown to make it 35-0 was great. The moment that's going to stick out to me in this game that I think flipped it was when you get the strip sack fumble and you got the ball deep in their own territory. You're up 35-30. You're in the fourth quarter. There's 8 minutes?
Give or take, around 8 minutes
left in the game. And I'm thinking they've just scored on back-to-back drives.
Gotta push it.
The second one was they went down the field. There was a really good mixture. The run game was working. They were hitting some of those quick passes. Aguilar made some throws that Nico wishes he could make on his best day. And especially some of the ones on the run and threading the needle. I thought Tennessee, some of the passes and the passing plays that they did on the first 3 drives, they didn't do until those next 2 drives, like some of the quick outs, some of the stuff over the middle. I think they got away from it a little bit too much because of some of the looks Georgia was giving. But you get the ball there. You run 3 straight run plays. And the last one, I remember, I don't know what made me look, but it's almost like Heupel wanted Aguilar to keep it on the handoff.
Yeah.
And it went for nothing. I can just see Heupel go, oh, and I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, you're going to kick a field goal here, which that was good from 70. That was
Yeah.
And okay, you're up. All right, not only do they have to score a touchdown, which that's a great scenario, but they also got to go for 2, which their 2-point play was incredible.
Yeah.
But the lack of aggressiveness, right, in that situation where I don't question Tennessee's team. I don't question their defense. I don't question the scheme. I question what is going on in the mind of your head coach. What does Nick Saban have that made him such a great coach? He knew when he had an opponent down, he knew how to put a knife to their throat. And what makes Kirby Smart a great coach? As much as I despise him, personal reasons.
What you saw Saturday.
Yeah. Personal reasons for me, the way I saw him deal with a special needs reporter during my time covering them, I'll never respect that man for the way he handled that kid. But because that's just who he is. He feels he has to intimidate everybody. But the adjustments that they made were great on offense and on defense. Kirby knows how to take that knife and end it. As much as people hate Urban Meyer knows how to stick that knife to your throat and end it. Belichick, Dabo before now. Knew how to stick that throat to you and that knife to you and end it. I don't know if Heupel has that.
I can see that could be a question up in the air. The thing that would stand out to me because I did watch the highlights from that last type of drive, and it's like Tennessee got the ball right there. You can end this game. You score a touchdown, that game's pretty much over at that point.
Right.
And it just seems like, I don't know if it's just not necessarily saying the game is ending up being too big for him in this situation, but you have to understand your opponent.
Yeah.
This is Georgia, and Kirby Smart at the helm, and he is from a Nick Saban coaching staff, so he knows exactly how to put the knife to your throat and end it. And you have to understand that you've now been given this amazing opportunity to put the final dagger in the Georgia Bulldogs and end an 8-game losing streak.
Yeah.
You got to be aggressive right there.
Right.
You can't be complacent. You can't be like, oh well, we're in field goal range anyway, so we'll go ahead and do that. No, you got to go out and win it. And again, not necessarily saying that situation was bigger than he was, but you have that opportunity, and you have to make sure that you get that you take advantage of that opportunity. And it just seemed like that he didn't really do that.
And then the last drive at the end, they got the ball back with 2 minutes 30 seconds left. They ran the ball very effectively, made some passes, especially a couple big third downs there. And they did get pretty close, but the way the end of the game was handled, you get a false start when you're just trying to get it to the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And then instead of maybe just running another play to get it to where you want, now you send the field. There was a lot of just disjointedness there when you absolutely didn't need it. Like there's, that all the guys that I mentioned, that's what makes them national champions is that they know, like, okay, we got them where we want them. That's not the team you want to mess with. We got to go down. We got to punch this thing in. And one of my favorite sports talk guys, Mike Valenti out of Detroit, he says if you play for field goals, you're going to lose. Play for field goals, get you beat. And I said that to every Tennessee fan that I made eye contact leaving, carrying my 3-year-old son, which my arms still haven't recovered from where we parked. And then we sat in the parking garage for probably 2.5 hours and didn't move. We were fine. We survived it, but every time I looked at someone, I was like, play for field goals, get you beat. And I had no argument from anybody.
Well, no, that last play you're talking about, that last drive when they ended up taking the field goal there, we had our left tackle, or our starting left guard is playing right tackle because our starting right tackle is out, so our backup left guard is playing left guard. And that play, it had a hole opened up and he missed his jump to the second level to block to get that linebacker. Because if he gets to that second level, gets that block, it's a 12, 14-yard run, and we're still talking about Tennessee with a win, but obviously didn't happen. Georgia guys make Georgia plays, and you get a stop there, and the touchdown to lead to the 2-point conversion. I mean, that was probably the best pass, one of the best passes I've ever seen.
I mean, it was that happened in the end zone.
Yeah.
I was sitting in, and I'm up top, and I had a perfect
he couldn't
view.
have handed it off to London Humphreys any better.
Gunnar Stockton was kind of off and on. He missed some throws,
but he also made
some
big ones.
Made some dimes in that play. But again, if Tennessee can build off on, we just took the number 6 team in the country down to the wire in a game that we should have won, and not let that define the rest of the year, because they do, and we're going to get to this point here in a second, but you do have an Oklahoma, you do have an Arkansas, you still got to play Alabama, you got to play Vanderbilt, you got to play Florida, like on and on. Like none of this is easy, and especially now, because next question I want to pose to you guys is the SEC turning into the old Big 12? Because if you look at some of these scores, I mean, A&M scored 41 but gave up 40 on the road at Notre Dame. Now, Ole Miss and Arkansas, that 76 combined points in that game. Alabama scored 38. Auburn does, under Hugh Freeze, what they do, play a below-average Group of 5 team and only beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
I mean, this league.
Well, Florida will save you from that, because DJ Lagway likes throwing to the other team more than his own.
And I know LSU's played a lot of good competition, and Brian Kelly wants to scream at reporters. How has that ever worked for any coach? Like, it's gotten to a point.
You have some fun moments like the Mike Gundy, I'm a man, I'm 40, and we've turned that into an entire marketing ploy over the past 15 years. But
which the reporters actually write about that story, because that same quarterback quit the next week.
Yep.
So, and by the way, that was a woman he was yelling at. That wasn't a man he was yelling at, too. That's also, we got to add a lot of context to that. But, it just, Texas they haven't looked great. This is a win, like you guys said, this is a winnable league. But you're going to have to score points to win it, and you're going to have to learn to, it's like, Arkansas a year ago. Or like, they play great at Oklahoma, but you look at the score, it's like, oh, that's a little bit closer than probably what you wanted. And you mentioned some of the other games, like, Vandy is not going to give up easy. I think Bama's starting to figure things out. You got to go there, which you haven't won there in God knows how long.
At Alabama?
Yeah.
3.
We're coming up on 22 years since they've won there, and these are not easy opponents. Arkansas can score points. Oklahoma, we know, can score points. At some point, it's a manageable schedule. You can win all the rest of the games on this schedule, but if you don't learn from your mistakes here, not only as players but as a coaching staff, 8-9 wins is looking more realistic. I hope that they learn from this, because if you can put 41 points on that team, and all honesty, it should have been more than that, then sky should be the limit.
Well, that's the thing that I'm thinking. If the team that went on the field against Georgia on Saturday takes the field the rest of the season, and obviously you get some guys back from injury, stuff like that, I mean, I don't think that there's a game that they lose, but the problem is that team's not going to take the field all 12 times this season.
No team in college football does.
Right.
It's too unpredictable.
Yeah, but I'll see what we look. I mean, obviously Saturday's not really much of a test with UAB, but I'm curious about the road test into the 2 weeks or the week following with Mississippi State. Get on the road playing an SEC team, see how you can build off of that.
Arizona State didn't make that look easy.
No. Yeah, and their quarterback looked, who we thought was a pretty good quarterback, looked lost.
Well, obviously you're probably feeling pretty good about Saturday. I know you didn't get a chance to watch it.
Didn't get a chance to watch it.
The score pretty much told the story. I watched a good portion of it, and then the score pretty much told the story.
And I watched the highlights. I mean, if you had still asked me after week 1 if I felt good about Ty Simpson at quarterback, I would have told you hell yeah. Because he has proven in the backup role they had last year that he does have the tools. He just needed to get the opportunity.
Right.
And I mean, week 1, you have week 1 jitters, whatever. But yeah, he is definitely the quarterback that this Bama team has needed. Yeah. He does have that consistency that I feel like Milroe was too inconsistent on. Right. And He proved it against a good Wisconsin team. That's not a bad Wisconsin team. Is it a playoff team? Probably not, but there's a good, solid Wisconsin team. And he started 11-for-11 and was just on fire. And I had no doubt that the offense would come around. I still go back on Florida State's a really, really good team. And you're in their home territory. They wanted to prove to people that they are here. They're not going to be the 2-10 team that they were last year. It was just Bama was the one that they got to deal with. But yeah, I think it looked good. Defense, I think, is doing better. It's just one game hiccup. It happened the first game of the season, and things continue to look better.
Well, I think we're starting to learn a lot more from week one than we did initially, obviously. That win from LSU, while it's still a really good win, winning at Clemson at night, that win's not looking as great anymore. You know, Clemson's struggled, obviously, mightily since then. And Florida State, I mean, that win looks really good because it was a 14-point game, but you pretty much dominated Alabama in that game. And since then, Alabama has been running through everybody else. So, if you're Florida State, that makes you feel really good.
And what a great comeback that they had on the road at Notre Dame. You feel bad for Notre Dame that A&M's
they got screwed
0-2, and you're beat by two top 15 teams, one score each. Your backup quarterback, which the joke that I heard someone make on one of the college football shows I was listening to on Sunday. Well, if they had Stephen Jelly, he would have dropped that, who's now leading the country in passing at Syracuse. But Marcel Reed's kind of proven that A&M's a pretty serious team over there now, 3-0 for now. We'll see, but that's a really good win in South Bend.
And Colin Klein, the adjustment he made last year with Connor Wigman to this year with Marcel Reed, I mean, you saw spurts of it last year when Reed went out there. Their offense looked completely different. But Colin Klein and the offensive coordinator for Texas A&M has done an incredible job because this Texas A&M team could not do this last year, and now they just went on the road. And now, given Notre Dame has shown some struggles on defense, but I mean, there were both of these teams' head coaches were Notre Dame defensive coordinators recently. So
the one thing that I would be taking away as we go into now week 4 is if you look not only what's happening this year in the SEC, but take a look what happened last year. Georgia's not the top dog anymore.
No.
Georgia's not the top dog.
It's leveling off.
It's leveling off. And this is probably, you could say last year that it kind of felt like it was pretty open, but Georgia felt like they still kind of had that slight upper hand.
Especially with how they handled Texas.
Especially with how they handled Texas. But this year, field was absolutely wide open. I could see Tennessee winning it. I could see Alabama winning it. I could see Georgia winning it. I could see A&M winning it. I could see, LSU winning it. And who knows what the heck's going to go on with Vandy? Because I know that I know that South Carolina had Sellers. I don't remember when he went out, but
early in the game.
I know that you didn't have him, but they went in there and they beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, they would have won with Sellers in there.
Yeah, I think Sellers makes it a 31-14 instead of 31 and 31-7, which they're proving to be a pretty formidable opponent.
Dude, Vandy's good. We need to realize that Vanderbilt's got a good football team.
And second half is where they're, the second half of Virginia Tech, which if you go down at the half of Lane Stadium, you're losing more than likely, which they just fired their coach after getting just throttled by Old Dominion, which they need to stop scheduling them because I think they had like a 3-for-1 with Old Dominion, and I think Old Dominion finished the series 3-1. Yeah, two wins at Virginia Tech, and they beat them once in Norfolk. But Vandy's looking really good. Speaking of looking really good, Georgia Tech guys, Haynes King. I am a Heisman Trophy voter. I can only say so much. I'm not telling you who I'm voting for yet, but Haynes King's
pretty up there.
My main criteria as a Heisman voter, if you take this guy off of that team,
what does the team look like?
What does the team look like? And right now, you take that guy off of this team, 1-2 with losses to Colorado and Clemson, and they're a bottom half, probably bottom third ACC team. With him, I mean, they're cracking. They're about to get into the top 15. That's how good.
Look at where Georgia Tech was the 2 years before Haynes King to the 3 years they've had with him.
Right.
I mean, Georgia Tech was an afterthought. Georgia's going to go beat them week 12 or whatever, beat them 41-0 and go home. Now, ever since he's been there, man, I mean, they're a scrappy team, and obviously Brent Key's got a big factor in that. But man, just what a job by Georgia Tech. Because I mean, if you watch that game, Clemson came back and kind of took control in the second half. And
Absolutely.
boy, the little fire drill they did there at the end to run the kicker out there
That's
was
so impressive. Like
Yeah.
you can tell that has been practiced and
Yeah.
practiced and practiced. Which it's funny. I go back to the Georgia Tennessee game. My sister-in-law kept going, or my sister-in-law, my wife just kept bragging on Georgia. Like it was so loud in there. They didn't have one false start. They didn't have one delay of game. I'm like, yeah, that's what professional organizations do.
they haven't had a false start at
Yeah.
Tennessee since 2021.
Like the year TCU went to the national championship game, they had a fire drill to kick the game
Against Baylor.
and they had a timeout left. They didn't
Yep.
take it. Ran the team out there because they know what they were doing. In
Yep.
Georgia Tech, they didn't have any timeouts, but they go down the field, hit that field goal. Like this is what you practice this stuff
Yeah.
for.
And guys, that was like a 58
Yeah.
yard field goal. And
It wasn't a chip shot.
No, and that would like you said about that kick earlier, that would have been good from 70
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
And I think if Tennessee I've gone back to it, I think if they were in a situation where you had to run the kicker out there,
Yeah.
maybe it would have fared better, because you don't have time to think about it. You're just like, okay, we got to kick now.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that was a really good, and I like what I don't know if it's a deal with the ACC and ESPN, but the listening in to reviews. I love that.
I love that.
That is the
I
greatest.
think that, I
was
think
really
that is an
enjoying
ACC.
That was the
thing.
greatest thing. Yeah,
That's what they're trying to do. They're drawing
Yeah.
up interest, which good on them because I loved every moment. of
Yeah.
it.
But you had the guys talking with you. I mean, you could hear everybody in there and how that conversation was going. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And it puts a lot of pressure on the officials to do it right.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, guys, here's our slate. Big games for next week. At big noon kickoff is Texas Tech at Utah. Big 12 wise, that's going to be a top 20.
That's a
matchup.
10 a.m. local
Yeah,
kickoff.
you literally took the words. I was like, that's going to be 10 a.m. local.
That's terrible.
for Utah.
Can we just make a deal? Can Fox understand
Yeah.
to just pick a game
Yes.
that's in the East time zone or Central?
That game should
Central's
be at
fine.
11 p.m., not 11 a.m.
Yeah, what are we doing with that? And plus, obviously, our whole thing of
Look,
just the Ohio State Texas games like that should have
Like-
easily been.
Like, why aren't these nightcaps? And then, like, some of the games, like, and personally as a West Virginia fan, how many 8 o'clock in Morgantown, 8 o'clock Eastern, like 7 o'clock for us? And, like, I think we live in the best time zone ever
Yeah.
because
Yes.
we're just an hour back, but we're not too back.
Right.
That we're
Like,
watching
in the-
football at 8 a.m.
watching football at 8 a.m. So it works out perfect. But how many West Virginia 8 o'clock kickoffs because of Fox? And, they don't kick off right at 8. It's like 8:12
Yeah.
or
Yep.
8:20 or like, Tennessee's game was kickoff at 3:42 instead of 3:30. But here's, Auburn and Oklahoma, which,
Yep.
I think Auburn was looking a little bit ahead and kind of looked past South Alabama. But Auburn before then looked pretty good. Oklahoma has looked really good. Sneaky one, guys. Tulane going to Ole Miss, 2 3-0 teams. Now the USF has fallen, and Miami kind of dominated that game, which I think we all knew what was about to happen, and the delay there didn't help. So Tulane has a chance to sneak in there if they can go to Ole Miss, who's that place is not looking as the hardest place to play.
Well, and Tulane handled Duke pretty
Yeah,
handily
yeah.
last weekend, and
Yeah.
Tulane
It was at
transferred.
Duke, too,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, Tulane. I believe so, yeah. And Tulane transfer quarterback Jake Retzlaff. I mean, they were using that guy like a battering ram against Duke. I mean, he had 4 rushing touchdowns. This guy came in the middle of July
Right.
and has Tulane looking like the group of 5 team in the playoff.
Yeah, Florida at Miami. That's God bless Florida. That's just brutal. I mean, Billy Napier should not be fired over that. They did not get. I mean, that's one of those. Why do you schedule these things 15 years in advance?
Yeah.
Because they all start to pile up at one time. Big time Big Ten one, guys. Illinois and Indiana. That's going to be a good separator between the two there. And the only other one. Speaking of late night, it's 8 o'clock kickoff. No, it's 8 o'clock kickoff as Michigan State visits USC, 2 3-0 teams out there. So that's a really good slate of games, and a lot of teams. Again, Tennessee's not playing anybody good. Is Bama off?
Bama's off this week.
Bama's off.
Bama and Georgia.
Yeah,
Yep,
because they
'cause
got,
they got each other next week.
Michigan's at Nebraska, so that's a good Big Ten one. South Carolina's at Missouri. Missouri has a chance to really. So there's kind of a bunch of under the radar teams that don't get all the attention. Week 4 is going to be a really good opportunity for them to solidify a good win.
Yeah, and Syracuse Clemson next week.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, there's some good unranked matchups.
yeah.
SMU, TCU. I mean, keep your eyes peeled
Yeah.
because Saturday's got some good stuff.
They got some good stuff. The big thing that I'm going to be interested in seeing is going to be that Auburn-Oklahoma game because here's 2 teams that have kind of been somewhat bottom feeders
Right.
in the SEC over the past 2, maybe 3 years, I guess is what you'd say, especially from Oklahoma's standpoint too. Now they're finally seemed like they're catching their footing. Hugh Freeze seems like he's finally got something possibly brewing down there on the plains.
Yeah.
And you go over to Oklahoma, and here they are. They're finally starting to catch their footing.
Yeah.
And I really think that that's going to be a game. I don't think it's going to obviously determine a huge outcome of the SEC, but this is you win this game, you can prove a point to say we're actually going to be legit.
And it's like I told my brother-in-law, like if Tennessee runs the table, or okay, I think Tennessee can get in the playoff even with an extra loss.
Yeah.
I think 10-2 will get you
Yeah.
into the playoff regardless, no matter how many. Especially if we're in double-digit teams, but they'll go back to one of those losses and go, okay, they actually probably should have won that game. And then they're college kids, so you've got so many things that could happen. But when you look at it from that perspective, it's a data point. Okay,
Yeah.
if Auburn wins, they went to Oklahoma, who
Yep.
everyone's. Not me, but everyone's going, oh, John Mateer could win the Heisman. They go there and win, which Bama didn't win there a year ago.
Yep.
I can tell you team after team after team that went in there.
I think Tennessee was the only team that actually went to Oklahoma and won last year.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think because
So,
yeah.
It's there's a lot of data points there. So and it's a data point if Oklahoma beats Auburn
Yeah.
because they would have a number beside the
Yep.
name. And lastly, on the college football front, we already have our first firings. Deshaun Foster, which I think he was dealt a bad hand to begin with.
Yeah.
Chip Kelly leaves last second. He wasn't even a coordinator. He wasn't even trying to be a coordinator. He got handed that job. I don't think he ever really wanted that job. I don't think he ever really wanted Nico. I think he got a lot of stuff pressed upon him. And he just, not only did they throw the job on him, he didn't want that job. They didn't want him.
It's just bad overall.
Yeah, I would say I'm
overall.
curious to see
Yeah.
if he gets another job later down the line, and we get to see him run things how he wants to. Because
Right.
obviously, like you two guys were saying, it looked like that program was being run with him as he was kind of the face of it. But
Inmates running the asylum. And,
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it wasn't exactly the players who were talking as
No.
the inmates here. Then Brent Pry, Virginia Tech, obviously I've covered Virginia Tech for almost 4 years, and I love that place there, and I hate to see where that program went. But Pry had that program on the up as the recruiting was better. They Justin Fuente just buried that because he thought he was going to get another job somewhere else after his first couple of years making it to ACC championship games. And, that's a great fan base. It's a great stadium. It's a great atmosphere when the team is winning. Obviously, I think personally think Virginia Tech's a better job than UCLA because I hate to say this, but lesser academic standards. You got a way more dedicated fan base, and the pressure's a little bit more, but if you're a coach who's competitive, don't you want that pressure at a place like Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
And you're going into probably the weakest Power 4 conference of all of them, so the chances to rise and the chances to win are better at Virginia Tech as, say, at UCLA.
And I think Brent Pry will have a job by the end of the year. I think by the midpoint of the season he will be.
He'll be a coordinator
or an analyst or something like that. I see, obviously he has a past with James Franklin at Penn State. He was a co-defensive coordinator at Penn State with Tennessee, defensive coordinator Tim Banks, so there's a relationship there. And, if things don't turn around in Columbia, South Carolina, there might be another Beamer wanting to go to Virginia Tech. He's got a short buyout.
I don't know. That would be obviously the perfect thing to happen for them to come in there. But I think Shane has a roadblock when it comes to Blacksburg because everyone thinks he's Frank's son. He said it in the documentary. If you guys remember, he's always been very wishy-washy and very dismissive of ever going back there. But like you said, if things turn south here.
I would say I'm not sure if it's going to be his choice to be leaving Columbia.
Exactly. Well, he's always said it's not if I get fired,
it's when I get fired.
So that could be the case, guys. Well, coming up next here, we're going to take a look at what happened in the NFL in week number 2. That will be when we return.
At C&B Linen, fast, friendly, and reliable service is our promise to you. Because you're not just a customer, you're family. From multi-use linen to branded floor coverings and a complete range of cleaning supplies, C&B Linen is here to make sure you have everything you need. From our high-quality products to our fast, friendly, and reliable service, you'll experience the difference with C&B Linen. Because you're not just a client, you're part of our family. You'll be winning with C&B Linen.
Got a dent, a ding, a scratch, or a bent fender? Major or minor, Car Country Collision Center in Leoma can fix you up. Car Country works with all insurance carriers, gives free estimates, can work on foreign and domestic vehicles, and has experience you can trust. They've been in business since 1990. Unfortunately, accidents happen, but you can get your car back on the road with as little hassle as possible with the help of Car Country. Call 931-852-4708 or stop by at 2567 Highway 43 South in Leoma.
Hey everyone, this is Landon Saunders.
And this is Nate Patterson with Cloud9 Fiber.
We're excited to finally be able to offer Lawrenceburg our blazing fast, reliable, and affordable fiber internet services.
If you're looking for a more reliable and more affordable provider, we at Cloud9 Fiber have you covered.
Plans start at $50 a month, and we can offer up to a gigabit to your home or business.
We are excited to be able to offer your first month of service entirely free. We encourage you to sign up on cloud9fiber.com or by calling 931-201-9098 so we can help you make the switch today.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome back here to X Sports Today. We wrapped up our college talk. Now we're going to go into the NFL, guys. And Mike, you brought up a point during the break, and NFL is weird. It's always weird because no one ever has it easy week in and week out unless, you're historically bad.
Yeah.
But anything can happen, week in and week out, because right now Russell Wilson is the NFL's leading passer, and Daniel Jones and Aaron Rodgers lead them in passing touchdowns right now.
I would say I saw a post earlier that was NFL stat leaders by college, and it was Wisconsin. I was like, well, Wisconsin's never had a good – I was like, oh, my gosh, it's Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, the Giants' offense, while they're 0-2, Giants' offenses look pretty good.
Yeah.
They're firing on all cylinders.
Daboll's got them going.
Yeah, he's really got a dangerous team. And it's not even just like Russell Wilson. He's got Malik Neighbors. He's got Wan'Dale Robinson. They have a ton of weapons on the outside. And, Cam Scatterbo is always really fun to watch run the ball. So, they got things rolling. But, man, they got to find somebody that can tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah, their defense is definitely an issue. I'm gonna throw this at you because I threw it at Michael yesterday. Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Do you know what that loss against the Eagles, what that meant for him career stat wise, if you will? What was significant about that loss?
Man, is that the first home loss?
It just has to do with Patrick Mahomes.
Just personally.
Just personally.
It's like, was that his worst passing home performance?
It's kind of insane when you hear it.
It's an insane one. That's his first time having 3 straight losses as a starting quarterback.
Oh,
going back to the Super Bowl.
Because they lost to the Eagles and then they've lost their first 2 this year.
That's his first 3-game losing streak.
And they, it's hard to say a team did not look good a year ago when they go all the way to the Super Bowl.
But they didn't.
They didn't. And there's that Super Bowl loss hangover, and the Chiefs avoided that because they went to the AFC Championship game the next year, and then they won the next 2 Super Bowls. And they've found a way to kind of overcome a lot of these typical pitfalls that you see with NFL teams. And it's a 1-score losses in games that they probably should have won. I think that defense is still good, but there's just something. It's not a Kelsey thing. They just don't have the weapons that they used to have. They need the big outside receiver. They need that slot receiver that runs under 440 that no one can catch.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite coaches I ever coached, Doc Holliday, used to say that it is a personnel-driven game. When you got the personnel, you can do anything. Because if you don't have the personnel, it becomes a coach-driven game. Yeah. And that's not a good place you want to be if you're a coach, you're a fan, or anything. And they're just defensively, the personnel is there. Offensively, it's fallen off.
It's fallen off, and when I make this comparison, I'm not saying that he's obviously going to be Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the GOAT. Right. I think it's going to be a while before someone reaches his type of caliber of just everything he was able to do. Yeah. But people, for the longest time, felt like Tom Brady was a system quarterback, that Bill Belichick was the whole reason why Tom Brady is the way that he was. Then he goes to Tampa Bay, and all of a sudden you realize, holy cow, well, maybe it's just Tom Brady is that freaking good. Yeah. And he makes everybody around him a lot better. Mm-hmm. I would bet a lot of money that if you got me Tom Brady back one more year, got him in the best shape that he is, and put him on that field and gave him an average, I would say average NFL offense, I guarantee you he'd still make them look pretty good. He's probably going to make the playoffs with them. Yeah. The thing that I still have a question mark with Patrick Mahomes is you look at the teams that he had offensive-wise that made deep runs in the playoff, that won Super Bowls, that went to Super Bowls. Yeah. You had a lot of weapons, a lot of good receivers, a lot of good options to throw. And yes, Patrick Mahomes can be flamboyant. He can go make plays on his own. I'm not saying that he can't do that. He can, if he needs to scramble out of the pocket and get a first down, he can scramble out of the pocket and get the first down. But you look at the teams that he now has where the offense is still a good offense, but it's not what they used to have. No. It just seems like he's unable to make them better like a Tom Brady would. Yeah. And I feel like you're realizing that Patrick Mahomes maybe isn't the Superman that people might have thought that he was.
Tom Brady played with one Hall of Famer, Randy Moss.
Yep.
And
they didn't win a Super Bowl together.
Well, Gronk will be a
Gronk
but he won Super Bowls with him, but he didn't win a Super Bowl with Randy Moss.
Nope.
Yeah.
And
18-1.
Think of all the different coordinators that Brady had. Weiss, McDaniels, Bill O'Brien, McDaniels again. McDaniels is a really good offensive coach. He's a terrible head coach, and probably a terrible human on top of all of that. But we're not going to go down that road today. But it begs the question. Brady had a long lull. It was almost 10 years in between Super Bowls. Yeah, and he had a long lull, and that team was still making championship games.
Yeah.
And still making the playoffs, even when they were at their dumps, down considering where they were at the time. So it'll be interesting to see how Mahomes and this whole, because Brady had to go through probably about 3 or 4 personnel package cycles of guys, and Mahomes still hasn't done that.
He hasn't done that. Yeah.
Well, it's like the Chiefs were trying to still hold on to that first group of guys he had there with him, and obviously Tyreek Hill, he's gone. Right. Travis Kelce slowed down a couple steps, so it doesn't look as good anymore. And you're going to have to find new pieces to bring in there. And I think it's going to take Mahomes realizing that, hey, I need new guys. These old guys that were my buddies that we won Super Bowls with. They're not cutting it anymore.
Yeah, they're not cutting anymore. And I'm not taking anything away from Mahomes. Right. It feels like he's in a team that maybe needs him to be that next level guy. That's just not who he is. I think
he needs to drive that bus. Yeah, Brady was really good at driving that bus. Yeah. Montana was really good at driving that bus. You can, Elway. How many Hall of Famers did Elway play with?
Not a whole lot.
Shannon Sharp for a little bit.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp.
Is Terrell Davis in the Hall of Fame?
I don't think so. You literally took the only other guy.
Yeah.
I think that Atwater, but he was a defensive player, was on the other side. Yeah. So here are 2-0.
2017, so he is. So what? 2?
Oh, he did make it. Okay,
yes.
Good for him.
So what? Two guys.
Yeah.
So now here are the 2-0 teams right now, guys: Green Bay, San Francisco, Cincinnati, the Rams, the Bills. Congratulations, Taylor.
Thank you.
They looked really good on Sunday. I thought That would be a little bit closer than what it was. The Colts, I mean, that was a really good win against Denver there. The Cardinals, they had to hold off the Panthers there at the end. The Eagles, the Buccaneers, and the Chargers. Those are your 2-0 teams right now. I'm ecstatic my 49ers, even though they're probably playing the worst team in the league, still found a way to win without Kittle and Purdy.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive. The Packers, the Bills, I would put Tampa Bay up there because that's 2 road wins that they've gotten in the first 2 weeks. The Chargers, that's 2 road wins because they went to Brazil, then have a conference game. The Eagles, those are probably the best of the 2-0.
It's raining outside.
It's raining.
Is it raining?
Wow.
It's raining outside.
It was beautiful when we drove.
Yeah, it's been sunny all that's weird. You know, I'm gonna give my shout out for my and every Titans fan is gonna despise me saying this, but dang it, the Colts got a good team this year, and nobody saw anything good coming from this Colts team because you got Daniel Jones at quarterback. Obviously, that didn't work out in New York, but you got Jonathan Taylor. That dude is an absolute beast. You know, you still got to find some guys at receiver, but Tyler Warren, the rookie tight end, is everything that he was advertised at Penn State. That defense is stout. They're getting stops when they need it. I'm a big fan of this Colts team.
I think the Colts. I felt like they were one of the teams that might have been overlooked because. Yeah, you're bringing in Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones is a solid quarterback.
He really is.
He really is, and I think that it was just he had a bad situation at the Giants, and I feel like this can kind of give him maybe a breath of fresh air.
Situation can be a lot.
Yeah, it can be a lot.
A lot. Pat McAfee has said it a lot on the show. Sometimes it's not who you are.
Yeah.
It's what you're around.
What you're in.
That could be the difference. Yeah. So here's the schedule for this coming week, guys. Thursday night. No one needs to watch that game. Buffalo's going to beat by. It's not a question of if; it's a question of by how much they're going to beat Miami by. Speaking of Green Bay at Cleveland, the Colts will be in Tennessee, Cincinnati at Minnesota. Both teams with quarterback questions.
Yep.
I mean, man, Joe
have they said is he going to be out for like 3 months or something? It is official now?
Because it's a grade 3 turf toe, which
they're adding every quarterback you can think of to fight for backup spots. I mean,
why has Jameis Winston not been one of the guys yet? If I am New York, he's the third string guy for the Giants. He's behind Dart and listen. Yeah, it might not be sexy. He might throw 30 picks, but he's going to put up 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. Yes,
and he's going to give you a lot of wrestling promos in the process.
Yes, and I feel like I feel terrible for Joe Burrow because I feel like we're seeing a second coming of Andrew Luck, a guy that was so good. If he could just have his offensive line protect him.
One is lower body, the other was head injuries. Here are some of the other games. Pittsburgh at New England. Rams at Philadelphia. 2 teams there. Jets at Tampa Bay. Vegas and Washington. That should be a pretty good one. Atlanta. That's 2-2 to Washington. Yeah, Washington lost. I'm sorry. Atlanta at Carolina. Houston at Jacksonville. Denver at the Rams. Saints at Seattle. Dallas at Chicago. Arizona at San Francisco. Kansas City at New York. Detroit at Baltimore. My favorite question, guys. What do you think is the cheapest game as of Tuesday to get into on this Sunday, Thursday, or Monday?
Ooh,
and we've got a lot. We've got some dueling back and forth right now.
My first guess is Falcons Panthers.
It's $48, but it's not the cheapest. There's 2 more underneath that.
Colts Titans.
That is the second cheapest at
one more
$39, which that was one of the more expensive games to get into last week.
Yeah.
It was like 151.
Would it be Saints Seahawks?
It would not because it's in Seattle.
Yeah.
It's 125.
East or West Coast?
East. You guys have the first 3 weeks. You guys have guessed it a lot. Strangely enough, it has not been where you've guessed the game, not necessarily guessed them as the home team.
Is it Jacksonville?
It is Jacksonville.
Wow.
$37. I remember when the 49ers played there the Super Bowl season. My family was in Knoxville for a game that I couldn't go to. And I entertained the idea because it was like $19 to get in. And this is when Jacksonville was good with Trevor Lawrence. And the Niners off a bye week just went in there and just crushed them. And the whole stadium was 49er fans.
Oh my gosh.
So even though that, that would have been a heck of a drive down there. So that's our week 3 slate, guys. And quickly with the Titans, they were up at halftime against a 2-0 team. A lot of people praising Cam Ward after that performance. So it's not all doom and gloom right now in Nashville.
No, but there's definitely some steps needed to be taken, obviously. I mean, the offense, but we've seen this the last 3 years with the Titans. They get up in the first half. They have this one, I was going to say 13-10. It was 13-10 this past week, and then their offense completely falls apart in the second half, and their defense can't get stops anymore, and then you end up losing by 2 scores. Brian Callahan has just shown no urgency in making halftime adjustments. They just come out and do the exact same thing in the first half that smart coaches like Sean McVay, who injured his plantar fascia during the game, coaching so hard, making his halftime adjustments to stop the Titans. It's just a continuous cycle that needs to stop. But I mean, it's going to be. I honestly don't know how you try to fix it, because you need an offensive line, but you also need weapons. I mean, Cam Ward's probably the only guy on that offense that should be on the starting for an NFL team.
Yeah. Funny enough, I still anticipate the Titans are going to have a bad year.
Yeah.
The question I have is just how many losses is it going to be at the end?
All right, is it, are you picking 4th in the draft?
Right.
Or are you picking first?
You're picking first in the draft. But there's something, even though I didn't watch the games, again, I watched highlights and saw the scores and everything, there's just something about this Tennessee team where it just feels like they have something there.
Yeah.
They just need to be able to wrangle it in and contain it. And it could be the coaching where it's like you didn't make any halftime adjustments, but the other team did, and now you lost the game.
Well, the thing is what I saw, and it's part of the problem that's kind of bit Joe Burrow, is Brian Callahan's offense. Those routes take so long to develop that your quarterback needs more than 3 seconds, in the pocket. So it's not getting guys open in time. It's stuff like that, because obviously Cam Ward has some receivers. He likes Ian Manor, the rookie out of I believe he was from Stanford. So he's having a really good year. Ridley's off and on, but it's those little things like maybe the left guard missed the block here. We need to pick up offensive linemen to block. We need to pick up secondary guys to keep teams from throwing all over us. Stafford had almost 300 yards. It's little things like that.
Yeah, and I agree. They definitely have issues, but it feels like they have something that they could, if they could wrangle it in, they can at least have. It would still be a subpar season, but it's not going to be a catastrophe. I think you would end up getting a handful of wins, and who knows, you might catch some fire and you might be able to try to fight for 500, but I just feel like they have something there that they can grab onto, but they hadn't yet.
Yeah, it's that's 2 good teams that they lost to, and they weren't exactly getting blown out.
They weren't getting blown out.
The score might indicate something else, but again, you're late, you're in it, you forced 4 turnovers against the Broncos, and then you're up at halftime against the Rams. It's not as bleak as I think most Titans.
I think I'd say you could chalk up a win, but they don't have a Monday night game in Miami this year, so might have to push that off for another year.
It's the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, something's going to happen, and they're going to find it. It might even happen this Sunday.
It could. Who knows?
The Daniel Jones of New York might pop up. The non-playoff Daniel Jones might pop off. Well, that will do it for our show. We will be back here again tomorrow. We're going to be playing some Keep It or Dump It, and it's Tuesday today, but we're going to do Trivia Tuesday tomorrow. I'm going to throw some curveballs. These guys have no clue what. It's inspired by my niece who asked me a question.
Oh,
these
wow.
guys can figure it out as well, because I'm still thinking about it. So I need to do my research, but I got something coming up. So that will do it for X Sports Today. We will see you guys again tomorrow.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports